Horses are great at keeping us on our toes, and if you're working with your horse in any capacity at all, you know this is true. You'll be sailing along, everything will be going great, and then it's not, and you've got an issue or a challenge. Well, I want to now begin working with riders here on the podcast to help them figure out a couple of those challenges. So I'm going to give you all the details just now as to how you can get your question answered. Hey there, and welcome to the Daily Strides podcast. My name is Lorna Leeson. I'm an equestrian trainer and coach, and I've actually never really answered questions per se on the podcast before, but here we go. It's the first time for everything, and I'll be able to help more riders answering them here. So let's give it a bash. Okay, so I said that we're going to do something new. This is very new. Last week, I put out a little call out, okay? So what I done was I sent an email to a couple of lovely riders, well, more than a couple, but lots of lovely riders. And basically the long and the short of it was like, do you need any help? What do you need help with? Let me know. And you know what I'll do? I'll start answering a couple of questions on the podcast, because every week I get emails from people and I do respond to a lot of them. I'm going to be honest now, I'm not great at email. Anybody who's around these parts for any length of time will know that, okay? It wouldn't be my strongest suit, okay? But I do respond when I can, and I just thought I can probably help more riders here, because as I mentioned, I think a couple of episodes ago, a lot of the questions I get from riders through email, a lot of them surround the same or have kind of the same theme around them, okay? So there's lots of riders out there struggling with similar things, and sure, why not? Of course we are, okay? Horses are horses and riders are riders. It makes sense that, there's going to be a couple of reoccurring things that are going to crop up every now and then. But what I want to do is I wanted to begin answering them here, and if you want to be anonymous, that's also possible. I don't mind at all. But I just think that with riders having different issues and different challenges, that this can be an important kind of a way that I can help more riders, basically, the long and the short of it. So if you do have any burning questions, you didn't get my email. First of all, why didn't you get my email? But secondly, if you do have any burning questions, you can reach out to me. It's Lorna, Lorna, at Strides for Success. Obviously, Strides for Success.com, and you can just send me an email there and I'll get it there. The other way that you could reach out is inside of our Facebook groups. You can find them over at stridesforsuccess.com/group, and that'll redirect you to the groups as well, and you can ask questions there and I can answer it here. One of the first questions I want to answer, strangely enough, did not come from an email. Now, I know I'm kind of contradicting myself here, but I thought it was a great question. And I wanted to answer it because I think it's something that many riders maybe think about and maybe struggle with. And it was just fantastic. It actually came up inside of the program that I'm working with now with riders privately inside of the Homeschooling Your Horse program. And the question was about the wind and how the wind can affect the horses and training the horses and working with the horses. And, what should you do? Like, should you work with the horse and train the horse? And in this particular instance, the horse is actually unbacked. It's a horse that is just being backed for the first time. So probably a little bit more green than other horses, okay? Let's be honest. But what should you do? Should you kind of not do those days? And I think that, I actually know that in this case, the rider was having a challenge that we have here where I am in my part of the world. But I think it's a challenge that many riders come up against, is that at certain times of year, there can be, let's say, more blustery conditions, okay, than other times of year. And that's certainly true for here. We get the change of seasons. And while we're very sheltered where we are with the farm, there can be days where it's just windy. But what I was trying to explain to this rider is there's, first of all, a couple of factors to this. And secondly, it really does depend. And that, isn't that when you ask a question, someone's like, well, now it depends. And you're like, okay, there's no simple answer then. But it does. So basically what this rider had also pointed out, which I thought was a really, really good observation, and one that maybe many riders don't consider, is that when her horse is with the other horses in the field, it can be like gale force and they're all calm. Nobody is batting an eyelid at the wind. They're all just going about their way, grazing or whatever they're doing together, okay? They're all happy and everybody's happy with the situation. But when he's with her in the arena, he tends to become a little bit more spooky. He's almost like on high alert, okay? If that was not her word, by the way, this is my word. But like on high alert, that he's like waiting for something like, is the tree going to fall on top of us, or, something like that. And he's kind of, I don't want to use the word worried, but he's like quicker, okay? He's a little bit more on the ball. And if you've worked with young horses, you probably know that wouldn't be ideal, okay? You really want to keep things relaxed and calm and everybody feels good about the situation. So that's not a great place to start from. And she was basically saying, so should I not train on those days, or what should I do? And I thought it was a fantastic question, and that's why I wanted to dive into it. So basically what I was saying to her was, first of all, like, well done for noticing that there's this difference. I think that doesn't cross a lot of people's minds. They don't see that. And I also think that the difference comes down to the fact that when horses are together in an established herd, now I'm using the word herd, a herd could be two horses, hey? A herd could be a horse and a goat, okay? It doesn't have to be like, we all have this vision of like a herd of wild horses. That doesn't have to be the case. But with the let's say the other animals in the field that your horse is familiar with and kind of has, I suppose, a level of comfort being about. That's why I'm saying established, okay? That when they are together, for the most part, they're not going to panic, okay? They don't panic, they're calm, and something like really out of the ordinary would have to happen for them to begin to like get worried about the situation. And what you probably find is the horses will only get worried when the lead horse becomes worried. Now, usually the lead horse will be a mare. Not always, but usually, okay, you'll have a mare there. And when she's getting worried, when she's beginning to also, let's say, go onto high alert mode, okay, when she's clicking in there onto that, you'll find the rest of the herd, it's like this ripple goes through it, like this very, obviously it's not it is a silent communication, but there's definitely like this physical communication you can see, but it's like this feeling, this energy begins to ripple out from this lead horse, or from, and again, it doesn't have to be a horse, okay, but I'm just using that as an example. So from the lead horse, this kind of ripple goes out, and everybody pays attention, and suddenly everybody's on high alert, and they're thinking, hold on now, this could be a situation where we need to get a little bit worried about something, or we need to, have our wits about us right now, okay? And then similarly, if usually this lead horse begins to run, or begins to maybe, spook and jump and become very agitated, I suppose, or the other horses will follow suit, okay? Now, if we take that to the arena, there are days here where I've mentioned to you that there's terrible wind, okay? And the wind is like a factor, okay? It's like a definite factor. And if there's lessons scheduled or there's riding scheduled for that day, I will have a look and I will assess who is going to ride, okay? And I will then base my decision as to what happens that day on who is actually going to be with the horses or the ponies in the arena. Because there are certain riders who can be very much like the lead horse, okay? They have this level of leadership about them, this feeling about them, and they're not, in fact, you'll find these riders are not heavy-handed at all. They're not like strict and stern. They're just very calm. It's like this like quiet leadership, okay, if you want, okay, but they're completely aware of their own abilities, and they have confidence in their own abilities, and therefore the horse has confidence in them. And what you'll often find in this situation, that yes, maybe the horse is a little bit on high alert, okay, we'll use that word, we'll keep going with it. So maybe the horse is a little bit like that, but because the rider is so confident and calm, even maybe if they're not inside, but they're definitely acting this way to the horse, okay? And they're like, you're fine, everything's fine, like this is a non-event. The horse will align with the rider. The horse will come over to the rider, and you might have a couple of couple of spooks, a couple of jumps, but the rider is able to deal with it in a way that doesn't accelerate the situation, or it doesn't kind of make the situation bigger, that will actually just diminish the horse's anxiety or diminish any worries the horse has, okay? And that's really important. Now, I could also then say side by side, you can have another rider who, if the horse begins to go, because the lead horse is not there, so the horse begins to, again, kind of flick into high alert mode, this rider goes, oh, sugar. This is not good. This is not going to end well for either of us. That's never a good situation to be in, okay? So if I can avoid those situations, I will. And it really and truly comes down to whether, like if you ask the question, let's go back to the original question, should I work my horse in the wind or not? Well, how well can you show up as that lead horse role? And how, if you want secure or grounded or stable, can you be within that role? And I think that that's really, really important. And I think when we're training our horses and when we're going forward with horses, we need to consider this. And what's also important here is that the lead horse wasn't born the lead horse, okay? At some point, the lead horse was like one of the minions, if you want, or one of the ones on the outside, one of the ones that, like, it was a baby at some point, didn't have a huge amount of respect off anybody. It really had to kind of toe the line to what the other more I would say experienced, but also maybe higher up the hierarchy scale, the other horses were. And then over time, the lead horse developed their skills, developed their leadership roles, and became the lead horse. Okay, that's what I want to say. Like, the foal is not the lead horse. The foal will never be the lead horse. The foal will grow into being the lead horse. And that's just like you. So wherever you are in your riding right now, you might not be let's go with the lead horse, okay? You might not be the lead horse. You might not have the quiet leadership. You might not have the confidence in your own abilities right now. But you know what? You can grow into it. And I think growing into it is important. And a lot of the growing into it work is done internally. It's done inside of your head. It's done in your mindset, okay? And it's done in beginning to increase your own confidence in your own abilities. And then from there, it's almost like you like radiate, or you give out this energy that the horse picks up on. Remember I said, like, the ripple effect. If the lead horse stays calm, there's a ripple effect. If the lead horse flicks into high alert, there's a ripple effect, okay? So you can do the same with your energy, and whether you believe in energy levels or not, okay, it's neither here nor there. What it means is that the horse will either be with you and take confidence from you, and you can actually borrow or loan your confidence to your horse. You can say, here, you're kind of lacking here, buddy, but you know what? I've enough for the two of us. Take this for a few minutes and just bear with me. And your horse will be like, oh, great, thanks so much. And then you both begin to feel better in that situation. I do hope this helps you in your riding. I thought it was a really, really interesting question, a really insightful question, and hopefully this will help you if you're struggling with it. Doesn't have to be wind, okay? It can be anything. But I'm just saying, in this situation it was wind. Hopefully this will help you in your riding going forward as well. Okay, and as I mentioned at the beginning, if you have a challenge, an issue, a question, something that you would like me to answer, you can just send me an email, lorna@stridesforsuccess.com, LORNA@stridesforsuccess.com. You can email me there and you can let me know what your question is, and I will get to it here at the podcast, okay? Okay, I hope you have a super day. Keep well, and I'll chat to you soon. Be good. Bye.